Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Paula, and I had a change of heart on what I was going to do for my November design team project. So I will come back to the manila folders probably for the December project. The reason I did was the paper, the digital paper that I decided on is what gave me a reminder of what I'm going to do, which is basically some people call it envelope, but it's not. It's a pocket. I made the pockets, I made the cover, and I made the cards out of the kit. The name of the kit is Shades, which is Tracie Fox, which is Love Junk Journals. And the name of the project is Shades Traveler's Notebook kit is the one. There's a junk journal and there's a traveler's notebook. And I got the traveler's notebook to work on with the embellishments, and again it's called Shades, S-H-A-D-E-S, and her Etsy store is Tracie Fox Love Junk Journals, and I'll link it below for you so you'll want to go look. She's got a lot of new stuff, and Tracie's incredible. She does great work. Okay, so I'm working with the Shades kit. As I just said, I spent, I don't know how long, trying to determine what size to make my pockets. Now, before I go on and talk about the pockets, I'm just going to show you, this is the cover, okay? And it's got like a, this is like a collage kind of paper. You can either cut it out and use it as journaling cards, or you can use it as a sheet of paper, which is what I did. And then I came in and measured in on both sides to make it fit my cover. My cover, I haven't even measured my cover in a long time because I've been working on this. My cover is 9 1/4 by, if I can get my, let me do the back cover because it's easier, 5 1/2. So 9 1/4 by 5 1/2. And what I did was I just got some, you know, chipboard that you would get on the back of a back of your scrapbook paper, and then I covered it in canvas, and then I cut my paper to fit the front, and I put the front paper on, and then I decided I wanted the back to be the same paper, which I just absolutely love. And the inside cover is another part of the kit. Now I know it seems light on this video and my bright lights, but it's, I mean, it is a light, and it's inked with like gray. And that's what I used on it as well. On my cut edges, I used a gray ink, which was Distressed Ink Hickory Smoke, is what I inked everything with. And so that both insides are the same image, and both of the outside is the same image. Okay, so the kit comes like one big sheet. Not this is one sheet, but it comes like a traveler's notebook sheet. So you could just fold it and bind it, and you have your pages. Of course, then your embellishments and tags and, you know, pockets and so forth. Envelopes, I believe, also. I haven't cut everything out yet, but I wanted to show you the cover. So then after I did that, I decided on what I wanted to, excuse me, what I wanted to decorate with. And I've had this button ribbon on this twill forever. And so I just added some flat lace under it that wasn't real frilly because I didn't want this to be frilly. And I put grommets in where I knew I needed them, where they would fit my pockets. Here's one of the pockets. I'm going to put the cover to the side while we talk about pockets. Okay, so this is my pockets after I completed it. Now, it hasn't been decorated or anything like that. But now I put the left side of the Traveler's Notebook sheet on the front of my tag and the right side on the back. So you will see what I'm talking about. This is the Traveler's Notebook paper. So this is the left side of the paper here, and this is the right side of the paper. So they would both be on the same side when you print it off. What I did is I stitched on my pocket. I hope this isn't confusing because I don't want to confuse you. I know sometimes listening to measurements and instructions on a video is harder than like reading them. But I kind of want you to see what I did. I didn't do it on camera because I was figuring it out as I went along. And it's not something that you want to figure out and go back and do again over and over. So I just decided to do it, show you and give you the measurements. And you can slow the video down and kind of listen to it step by step and take some notes. That's what I do if I ever want to make something that someone has made. I know once upon a time I've seen something similar to this. It was either on Pinterest or, you know, somewhere, YouTube or somewhere. It's been too long, I don't know. But when I saw the kit on Tracie's, in Tracie's store, I knew, it just came to me that I wanted to do this. And so I got the Traveler's Notebook kit. And if you don't want that, you can get the junk journal. But I wanted it to be more slender, and so in order to make tags. And so this is the left side of the page, and I cut it from the right side of the page. They were connected. And I did bring it in on each side, probably 3/4 of an inch on both sides. And I didn't take any off the height. I punched out some tabs from the tab punch. This is the tab punch. And we are memory keepers. And I think it's the only one they have out there, so you shouldn't have any problems finding it. I just folded my paper over so that I could double the tab. Otherwise, it punches out as a single tab. Okay, I stitched around with a gray. I inked with a gray. I stitched with a gray. Every other card is stitched differently, so I did a straight stitch on the first card. And I put my tab on the left side. And the next card, I did a zigzag. And I put my tab on the right side. So I just alternated it. And both sides of your tabs will be, or your tags will be, one side will be the left side of the Traveler's Notebook page. The other side will be the right side. Okay, and I hope that's not confusing. So I decided when I made the pocket, this is how my pattern ended up. I decided when I made it, first I thought I wanted a circle at the top. It didn't show enough of my tag, and I wanted my tags to show. So I ended up doing a triangle, and I just kept the piece I cut out to use it as a template if I needed it, but I ended up cutting most of this on my cutter, my Fiskars. And then when I closed it, it was huge, and I thought, but the reason I made it so wide was because I wanted to stitch down here so that whenever I punched my holes out, the tag wouldn't interfere with the rings on the book. So it's going to be a 3-ring binder type, not a binder. It's just going to have 3 rings, chipboard cover and back, and 3 rings, and these are going to be inside. I may or may not reinforce my holes. I put grommets on the covers and the back, but I don't know. I'm gonna see. Anyway, this is how it turns out. I did a straight stitch and then I zigzagged over it because I wanted it to have a different look. I wanted it to be both of the stitches on the cover that I alternated on the tags. Okay, so let me put this tag back in the pocket so I don't lose track of it. And I did make them to fit. As you can see, they're not too tall. They're just enough height that, you know, it doesn't go crazy. So I've got them all here. It ended up being 12 sheets. So there's birds and there's floral. And then there's journaling sheets. Some of the journaling sheets are music. It's like a music sheet, and some of them have lines. So what I did was, with my tags, I did birds, a bird page, a floral page, and a journaling page. And then I just alternated how they went because they all look so beautiful together. So I used the whole amount of Traveler's sheets, notebook sheets. Okay, now let's get on to the measurements. So you might have to watch the video more than once. I haven't even looked at this since I turned the video on, or even before, because I've been super busy, but I have my ruler. So it's going to take a sheet, a 12 by 12, I think, sheet of paper. No, I take that back. It was the 8.5 by 11, you know, the kind that Michael sells. You know what I'm talking about. Let me measure here and I can tell you. Okay, so you're going to want your height. This is just cutting the rectangle out. You want your height to be 8.5. Okay, so from here to here, it's 8.5. From the top to the bottom, you want that side to be 8.5. And the whole width, when it's opened out like this, you want it to be 10 3/4. So the length of the whole thing is 10 3/4. The height of the whole thing is 8.5. All right, so the tag holder from here to here is 8 inches. And this little tab right here is a 1/2 inch. Okay, so this is where you will end up scoring on your paper. You will score. You'll have your paper, I'm sorry, flipping over my tongue here. You'll have your paper the long ways, and then you'll score at a 1/2 inch on the left side. Okay, and then you'll turn your paper like this, and you'll score at 3 inches. And then you flip your paper around and you'll score at 2 3/4. Okay, so when you do that, you're going to end up with, ignore this oval here. This is just my pattern. Because I had thought at first I was going to do it like that, and I just ended up going over it and cutting it like a triangle. And so you just make yourself a template. You want the triangle to be on this side of your stitch line, over to the right. So you can see here that I did my triangle over to the right. Okay, and I left this to stitch. So I stitched about 3/4 of the way in from the left side. And so this will be like, it'll be like this. You'll trim out this section here, the part of the tab that I've got right here, at the bottom. You'll trim out this section and this section. And then you'll be left with this, which will be straight at that time. You're just going to cut in and make it, you know, where it kind of flags. And then you're going to fold this. You're going to leave this, and then you're going to fold your scored line here, and then fold your score line on the other side. Attach it with your glue or double-sided adhesive or whatever. I put the smallest of the two flaps underneath. You could do it either way. It doesn't really matter. Okay? And then after you've glued that down, you take and put some glue on your little flap and you fold it up. And it's just like a simple pocket. And I'm sure being junk journalers, all of you've done this type of thing before. And then I went, before I did all the gluing, I went ahead and cut out my triangle. Now, this is where, you don't want to look at my pattern for the triangle because that came later, but this is where I cut the triangle out to the right side of the pocket, okay? All right, I hope that was clear, because I'm not great at explaining stuff that has to do with numbers and measurements and so forth. So then I want to give you the size for the tags, okay? Now, the height is, let me make sure I'm in camera. The height is, let's see if I'm lined up, is 8 1/4, okay? And the width of one side of the traveler's notebook is 3 1/2, okay? So I'm trying to remember. I think I took off like a 3/4 on each side, and I don't have any more of the kit pages, or I could tell you, but I think that's what I did. Well, they would probably be this same size. So let me measure this. Okay, this is, well, maybe not, because this is 6 1/2 by 9. I know that it went up higher than this, so this isn't the same size as the kit was, but trust me, you'll have plenty of paper to make the tags, and you want to make them 3 1/2 by 8 1/4, okay? And you're going to cut off, I did 1/4 of an inch at a time, and what I would do is take 1/4 of an inch off the left side, 1/4 of an inch off the right side, and then I'd try to put it in my pocket. And I just kind of did that back and forth so that I could keep the image centered. I didn't want it to be off-centered. So I did that to both sides. When I first started, I just took the image, which was one big page, and you were supposed to fold it in the middle. I just cut it down the very center and then used them as 2 images. And this is the left side, this is the right side. Okay? I hope that's as clear as mud, because that's the easiest way I know to explain it. So then when I did my cover, let's go back to the cover and the back of the cover, front and back of the book, I guess I should say. I think I already gave you the measurements for that, but let's do it again. 9 1/4 by almost 5 3/4, so it's just slightly under 5 3/4. All right, do not just randomly do your grommets over here, because you want them to match your pocket, okay? So what I did is I actually put a little circle on my first pocket where I wanted them, and they're not even spaced out perfect. I mean, I just eyeballed it, okay? And then when my cover was ready, I laid it down like this, where I had already done my 3 holes on one of the pockets, and then I punched it out and I put the grommets in. And then I took this and used it as my template on the rest of my pockets. And you can see right here where I drew around the circle. I haven't even punched the rest of them out yet. I just wanted to explain it all to you guys before it got too late. And so I'm going to show you, I've got 3 rings and I've got these the biggest ones, okay? I matched my grommets and my rings, which these are like an antique bronze. And because there's brown in my buttons, you know, I wanted it to match as best it could. I found probably 10 or 15 different ribbons and flowers and different things to put on here, but I've had these buttons forever from Hobby Lobby. It's where the buttons and this flat ribbon came from. I've had them both for a long time. And I laid these buttons on here after laying all the florals and lacy stuff, and I'm like, this looks better for this type of nature, botanical type cover. So, all right, so that's what I have accomplished so far. So I'm going to show you real quick. Now, I've already cut this pocket out. Now, well, I cut the paper out. It's the measurements that I told you we needed to do. But I did go ahead and cut this, which I should have waited. I wasn't thinking at the time. But, and it's already scored at 2.5 and at 3. Now, I'm going to show you how I did it. Let me get up close so you can see the lines. I hope you can, guys. I'm sorry I had to film this at night. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over. You want to make sure everything lines up at the top so that your pocket is even across the top. And then fold this side in. And I always try to make sure it's even right here at the top of the pocket. And then you just press it down. The next thing you do is add just an amount of glue right here so that it doesn't ooze inside your pocket. Then flatten that out. Okay? Then you're going to take this bottom portion, fold it up. Now, if it's hard to fold up because of the pocket section here, you can just trim a little tiny bit off at a time until this is a smooth fold, and then you glue there. Okay? But before you do any of that, make sure you draw around your template, and also draw a line. You can do it very lightly for your stitching once your pocket's together. Okay, I drew it a little darker here so you could see it, but I would definitely draw it lighter. And now up here I just took a pencil and lightly drew the template. And then I got my Tim Holtz scissors, the ones with the long blades, my favorite scissors in the world. And I had the pocket all together, and I just slipped inside here. And the thing I like about the long blade is you're fixing to see. You can just line it up and get it in one and then you're at the end of the pocket. And then you're going to come on this side and do the same. Whoops, clumsy me. I don't have it actually glued, but you get the picture. And then I'm going to come on this side and do the very same thing. One swish of the scissors, and it's taken care of. Now this is all going to be glued together, obviously. I didn't bring my glue over here, but so now you've got your V. Erase any pencil marks you might have. Ink everything with the hickory smoke or your choice of grays. And then I put black thread in my sewing machine, and I did a straight stitch. I didn't like just the straight stitch, so I came over it with a zigzag stitch. Let me show you. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. I didn't really concern myself with that, but I did try to make it as straight as possible. Okay, and the hose came later. All right, so that's how the pocket's made. That's how the tags are made. That's how the cover is made, even down to putting the grommets in it. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is cut out my images. And so I thought we could cut just a little bit. Whoops, Oh my goodness, guys, I just knocked my camera right over. Is that, there we go. I had to get a new trimmer, and it's as big as the other one, but I didn't mean to knock you guys out with it. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to get my some of the images that goes with the kit, and I figure we can do the tags on camera, because the tags are so pretty. You guys are going to love them. Look how beautiful those are. Tracie, she doesn't leave a lot of work for you. And that's the thing I love about her products, is that she inks them. I mean, there's no guesswork. And all you have to do is just put a little bit of ink around the white edges, where whenever you cut, you know, you can see the white on the sides. Just ink around that, and you're done. And punch out the hose. And I love the little mini images that she has on the kit. And look at of course you've seen these because that was on the front of the book. But let me kind of back off. And if it seems light, it's because it's in the gray family. But it is colorful at the same time. These are the envelopes and some mini tags and some circles, which I will punch the circles out with my hole punch once I find it. I don't have to do that tonight. Here's the second envelope. So you've got florals and you've got birds on the embellishments. Here is some more mini, which I love the mini shapes. Here are the pockets. And let me turn it around so you can see the birds. Aren't they cute? I love these daisies. So cute. Okay, and then this is the image that's on the back. And, which I'll do those like journaling cards. So I am going to decorate my pockets. And once I get everything decorated, I will come back and show you the whole thing put together. Okay, so I'm looking at this thinking, where do I want to start? Because I have so much stuff on my table, I'm afraid I can't get my cutter far enough back where you guys can see. I think it is now. Let's go this way. All right. If you can't see, just holler at me through the camera. Okay. So I'm just cutting the bottom first of the tags, cutting the bottom off, and then I'll cut the top off. I find it's easier to do that. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you've had a good Monday. You know, Mondays are typical days, I guess. Everybody dreads them, and then everybody's happy when they're over. I took the dog to the groomer today, and she got her first official haircut. But she needed to go potty, and I didn't bring the leash with me. So this lady that grooms her in her home for me, as soon as she got her out of the little crate, when I picked her up, she decided she was going to squat and potty. So I picked her up quickly so she wouldn't potty in the lady's house. I'm sure she's used to it. But anyway, I'm cutting around all the outsides, and then I will cut the other areas. So I thought, you know, here's this giant yard. It looked like more than a half acre, you know. It was kind of tons of trees and leaves and everything. Well, I thought, well, I'll just set her down. She didn't have her collar. I didn't have her leash. I thought I'll just set her down for a second and let her go ahead and empty her bladder. I set her down, and she starts chasing leaves. This really could have been on America's Funniest Videos. Here I am, 61, trying to chase this 3.5 to 4 pound poodle around this lady's yard, not knowing if I was going to fall in a hole or what. I wanted to strangle her. And that's when I decided that I'm too old to have a puppy. It's like having a toddler. It's a lot of work for an old lady, especially one that's busy trying to get, you know, her YouTube channel going and her, you know, because I spend a lot of time working on my projects, and I'm not super fast because I'm not super young, and my hands aren't like they used to be. But anyway, so update on Charlie. I got to FaceTime with him last night, and he was in good spirits. Of course, he had already had some pain medicine, but he spiked a fever again yesterday and was in a lot of pain. So they're thinking it, I don't know if I told you guys this in the last video, they're thinking it's might be autoimmune arthritis rather than rheumatoid arthritis, because, you know, his illness that he's had for 3 years is autoimmune. So they're thinking he got a virus, and that once this virus clears up, that problem with pain and fever should clear up. But they don't know 100%. They're still running tests, and he's going to see the most important doctor tomorrow, who is the doctor that did his bone marrow transplant. Charlie had a bone marrow transplant 3 years ago, and he's really been doing great. And he got, like I told you, he got to start school this year. And so I just want you guys to know how much I love and appreciate you guys for continuing to pray for him and lift him up in your thoughts. And he's the silliest little thing. He was just being so funny last night, and while we were talking with him, one of the doctors came in and asked him, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" "Why did you say that?" he said. And she says, "Well, I'm just checking on you, and I just want to make sure whether or not you need anything." "What would I need?" he said. He didn't get it. So she says, "Well, for example, do you need a popsicle?" And then he just got the whole bashful thing going on, like, oh, that's what she means. She just wanted to give me a popsicle. And of course he did. It was the biggest popsicle I've ever seen. But he was devouring it the last moments that we spoke to him. But he was adorable. And so today they changed some of his meds, so he did not have a fever today. So praise the Lord for that. And I just wanted to give you guys an update and thank you. But so he sees the doctor that did his transplant tomorrow, and he's the main lead doctor. He's been out of town, but he will be back tomorrow to see Charlie. And he hasn't seen Charlie in a year. That's how good Charlie's been doing. So we feel very fortunate, and we, or at least when I say we, I mean me. I can't speak for anybody else. I feel like he has been, is in the process of being healed, and in more ways than one. So he is ready to be out of there and be home. But he's getting spoiled a little bit, so there's nothing wrong with that. Have them and spoil them. That's what Grammy and Papa's do. They have them over and they spoil them. But my oldest grandchild, he turned 15 today, and I've got to call him. I'm glad I thought of that. See, if we hadn't talked, I would have forgot to call my grandson on his birthday. But he is 15 and taller than anybody in the family. Taller than both, taller than his dad, who's 6-something, and taller than his mom, who is she's very tall for a woman. I mean, she's probably 5'10", and he's taller than his papa. So he overtowers all of us, and he has my heartstrings. He's that first grandbaby, you know. He still will sit and cuddle with his Grammy, and I love it. He can't cuddle in my lap anymore because he's huge, but he sits next to me and reminds me real often that he loves me. So there's nothing better than having those grandkids, I'm telling you. So I'm getting to the end of cutting these tags out. See, this is so easy because a lot of people will cut a lot of these images out by hand, but really a lot of them are straight or circles, which means you can use your circle punch or your trimmer. And yeah, so I've got to sleep on it tonight and think how I want to decorate these pockets tomorrow and finish up the book. I probably won't finish it up in one day. I've got to start my next Christmas book, which I'll tell you, I don't know the title yet. Of course, I don't really give titles. It's not my thing. Someday I might, but I just, you know, the deer, with the deer, the one that had the trees on the fabric and the deer on the front, it was called Tree and Deer. I you know, simple as possible is best to me. Anyway, so I don't know, but I do know that it's going to be really pretty. Oh my goodness, it just tore, my blade just tore my tag. See, that's what happens when you use your blades to death. I'm going to go ahead and just make it a little bit smaller. Never throw it away. Just make a thinner, more narrow. Try to stay to the outside of your image, and then just make your text smaller. And go the opposite way. And then flip it over and do the other side, because you want both sides to be the same. This is how you correct a boo-boo. I guess I'm going to have to change my blade already. I feel like I change them all the time, but see, that turned out just fine. Here's what a normal size is. So I just ended up cutting 1/8 of an inch, something like that off. Anyway, so those are cut, and then I'm going to cut this little strip of rectangles, and then I'll let you guys go. I want to welcome all the new subbies. As soon as we reach 1,000, I'm going to give away something. And have I decided what? No. But it most likely will be some type of journal. It might be a traveler's notebook. And it might be a journal. I haven't decided. I have to wait till it gets closer, because if I don't, I'll change my mind a dozen times between now and then. Or it might be stuff to make one. We'll see. Yeah, I may give you this stuff and say, hey, make yourself a journal. That wouldn't be a real gift though, would it? I wouldn't do that to you. But see, now, that wouldn't bother me, because that's part of the fun, is making it yourself. But I know some of you don't make journals, but you like to watch the videos. But honestly, all the things I do on video can be done in lots of things. You can do it in card making, you could do it in scrapbooking, and some of it even, you know, I've even done mixed media on my channel before. So yeah. All right. Let me make sure you guys can see. Okay, I know it's down low, but I've got my trimmer as high up as I can get it without knocking everything off the table, which I have done before. These are small, and I love the size of these. You can do so many things with these. I saw Wendy today. She was using the tea, the ones that are the tea cards that Tracie has in her store, which, by the way, are really cool. She was using them as toppers on her tags. And I've got one that I had to cut down really small, and she would top them like this, and then she would glue another one on the other side. Great idea. Great idea, Wendy. And they were really cute. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go, and I will try to come in tomorrow and show you the next Christmas book I'm starting. I hope you're not bored with Christmas books, but right now, you know, I'm making them, and they're usually gone within an hour or so. So people are wanting to get ready for Christmas, and so I want to make sure everyone that is wanting one has that opportunity. So I've had people buy them for gifts and different things. So you guys have a good evening, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We have lots of fun, and we do all kinds of things. And so until next time, good night, guys. Thank you. Bye.